Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. Tired of pushy recruiters sending you LinkedIn requests for jobs you have no interest in? Tired of blasting out resumes into the dark? If so, you should check out Hired.com. Hired.com flips job searching on its head by having top employers like Facebook come to you after you fill out one simple application. You also get your own job coach to help you on your next job search. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you at least fill out the application. Just go to Hired.com/simpleprogrammer, and when you get hired with Hired, you'll get double the normal sign-on bonus for using that link. So I got a question from, and he gave me the pronunciation. He's from Bulgaria. He says Lubomir. At least I think that's Lubomir. So Lubomir says, I can either go to the US to work for 14 to 16 hours a day for $10 an hour. That's a lot of money in Bulgaria. Or get an internship doing some programming for little or no pay. What should I do the 4 months in summer when I don't have college? So he says he's from Bulgaria, finishing up his second semester studying computer science and information systems. His college is extremely expensive, $5,000 a year with a 60% scholarship. So for Bulgaria, that's expensive. He's been doing freelance web development on the side for pretty lucrative amounts of money, but it's not enough to pay for his education. He'd either have to go to the US and work 2 jobs in the summer or have a large student loan that I'd have to pay off after I graduate. So if I understand the question correctly, I think what he's saying is that he's either going to go to the US and work 14 to 16 hours a day at about $10 an hour, or do an internship doing some programming with no or little pay in Bulgaria. And so, which do you do in this case? So I would highly recommend, I've talked about this before in a video. I think someone asked in a video about going to the US or staying in their country, and I'd recommended going to the US. If we can find that video, I don't remember the name of it, but I would highly recommend going to the US and doing the 10 to 14 hour days for $10 an hour, just because of the connections that you're going to make there, especially working at a company, being paid in the US, and the perspective change that you're going to have. I mean, I have my own worldview and my own perspective, right? So, but I've seen on the flip side, right? So I went to China. You can check out my videos on China, and I've gone to a lot of third world kind of countries or places where, where the cost of living is much less, right? Where people make a lot less and they live in a lot worse conditions. And I realized how plentiful the US is and how much opportunity there is here, right? And how fortunate I am to be here and to have that opportunity. So it's sort of made my perspective bigger to understand that opportunity that I maybe was taking for granted. I think, again, I haven't done this, but I think the other perspective is also valuable. I think if you're from somewhere like Bulgaria and you come to the U.S. and you see, I've had the other experience, but I'll talk about that in a second. But essentially, I think if you come to the U.S. and you see how much, everyone's got, it's making so much money, and there's so many expensive stores and all of this stuff, and how much things cost, it may motivate you and make you realize that there is, because you're working in this global economy, maybe you're underpricing yourself. Maybe you're undervaluing yourself because you're used to what is expensive or what is, the current value in Bulgaria, which is a lot less. So seeing something, more grand and more extravagant and of a higher level can make you want to not only want to reach that level, but it can make you realize that it's possible, and that for a lot of people, it's the norm, right? Now, again, there's opportunities and there's all of these things, but as we're moving into more of a global economy, especially for programmers, a lot of it is perception. A lot of it comes down to perception. And I'll tell you, I've had this experience when I've gone to places like Manhattan and gone to 5th Street in Manhattan, and you might think that you're doing pretty well, but you go to 5th Street in Manhattan, you're like, man, I am poor, right? Or you go to Vegas, right? To some of these places in Vegas where I went to this one restaurant and they had this Japanese Kobe beef, right? And do you know how much that beef cost? Like 4 ounces of beef. I'm embarrassed to tell you how much it cost me, but it cost me like $200, or like something like that. It was like 150 or $200, somewhere around that range, for like 4 ounces of beef. Now, I wouldn't do that all the time. Obviously, I'm not that rich, okay? But I wanted to try it once, and there are people that do that live that way, and it expanded my mindset to say, wow, this is interesting. Like, for some people, this is just the norm. Why do I have such a limited mindset that I don't think this is normal? Not saying that money is everything and that, you know, all this, but I'm just saying that sometimes seeing how the extravagant or seeing how the wealthy live can make you realize that that could be your, like, it could adjust you to that, where it could set your sights a little higher. Because a lot of times we set our sights too high, or I mean, too low, right? We should set them a little bit higher. So I know this is kind of a weird way to go from your question, but honestly, I would come over to the US and take that opportunity, and just, I feel like it'll expand your perspective. It'll give you a lot of opportunities in the future in the US versus doing an unpaid internship in Bulgaria. I think that it's gonna carry more weight too. Plus the other thing to think about too is that if you do try to get a job in the US, or you try to do freelancing, right? If you have US clients on your resume and on your portfolio, that's going to make a bigger difference, right? If it's all Bulgarian clients and you try to get a job somewhere else, or you try to court a US client, it's going to be harder, because they're going to say, well, I don't know, like, is this legit? Does this measure up, right? I mean, they're going to have these perceptions, but if you're like, oh, I interned at IBM in the US for 4 months, that's going to look much better for you. So again, I don't know about this. I don't have your perspective, right? So I can't tell you 100%, but I would say that just from my own experience and what I've seen, and all the people that I know a ton of developers that came over here from India. There's one in particular that the dude started following my channel, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, and started reading my stuff, my blog. And he was making like nothing in India, like very little. And he came to US, and he's making like almost $200,000 a year in the US now. I mean, can you imagine that? But a lot of it was the mindset shift. A lot of it was because when I've talked to him, he said that a lot of watching my videos and just realizing what was possible made him want that and set his bar that high. And then all of a sudden he's where, I mean, it's unbelievable where he's been. And there's a couple of stories like that. I mean, I think you've seen the one on my channel where I told about the story, the guy that emailed me that also from India, that ended up being extremely successful. I can't remember it's Skip MBA, that's his name. All right, that's all I got for you. Good luck. And if you have a question to email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. Make sure that you click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and click the bell to make sure that you don't miss any videos when they come out. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.